Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Bill coming back at you with BetSum.com. Here with Dave and Tom.
What's up, guys? Today we're going to go over Week 10. It's Week 10, right?
Week 10 it is.
Week 10 NFL Daily Fantasy as well as sports betting. And anything you guys want to talk about first, about this past week or anything that you've seen?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to, I think the big thing that's on, that's on our minds that we talked about recently is we're starting to see daily fantasy sports for money starting to turn into online poker like it was 2 years ago when they shut it down in the U.S.
Right.
And I was just sharing, we were all sharing our feelings about that and how, honestly, I mean, this isn't North Korea, this is America.
Yeah,
and,
just crap.
I mean, it's, they're saying they're doing it for our safety, and we've seen this being done before, on online poker. It happened to us, however many years ago.
So the writing is a little on the wall with what may be going down.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, everybody wants their piece of the cash now. It's not about everyone's safety.
State by state is being outlawed.
Well, and we live right now. We saw what happened to poker, and now we're dealing with the repercussions. Regulation came in. We thought it was a good thing. Nobody's playing now. We're not even really playing. We're playing here and there, but the truth is the tournaments aren't like they used to be. And
now there's something else that adult males in this country choose to spend their money on, and it's being, taken.
Amen. It's the same. It's the same shit. It's like everything I love to do. They either needs to be taxed on, or I can't do it, or it's outlawed.
So how can we get the money before they make it illegal?
Lineups.
This is the last week. Everyone, get out there.
Life-saving.
The recent example of this is in New York. It just came out today or yesterday, maybe.
No, it was today. Honestly, a couple hours ago.
So that daily fantasy is going to be excluded from there. He asked DraftKings and FanDuel to not accept funds from people from New York, claiming this or that or whatever their claims were, the usual stuff. Protecting us against the big bad people out there. But either way, it doesn't look like it'll be in New York for now. That's what it looks like. So we'll see. So that's another state. There's depending on the site, there's different states now. 5 or 6 of them probably.
I mean, the thing is, every week it seems like a state gets added, right. And so basically, take to the streets. I know everyone's. I'm as lazy as I'm as lazy as shit, basically.
Right.
And I'm actually I'm taking action. I'm going out there. I'm writing to the last one I did was to the mayor, and then I did another one to a petition that DraftKings sent around. So
yeah, because DraftKings is emailing out right now ways you can help, and you can go, you can Google it or you can go on their site.
Or on our site, we're gonna have some stuff on there so people can go to.
Yes.
So get your friends together and do it because it's a worthy cause, so we can keep playing this awesome game.
So all right, well, that all being said, let's try and win as much money as possible before they take it away.
Too bad we didn't have Dalton and Eifert last week. That would have been nice.
Yeah. Right.
Seriously.
3 tight end.
Yep.
3 touchdown stack.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's start with quarterback, wide receiver stacks that we like this week for DraftKings. Bill, why don't you start us off with who you're thinking?
This week I'm thinking I like the Jacksonville quarterback, Bortles and Robinson. I think these guys, they have a consistent game. If you look back for the last couple of games, Bortles has been putting up the numbers, and he's really either been throwing to Hearns or Robinson. And honestly, I think it's a great stack, especially against Baltimore.
Yeah, and Hearns is out. Is that right?
Hearns is questionable. He's not out at the moment, but I think you're going to see some more points from Robinson this week, he
might be out, but he's definitely hobbled.
Yeah, he's definitely hobbled. And if you look at the last game that Jacksonville had, I mean, they just had some close calls with touchdowns, and I think this is the week that they're going to get them, as opposed to the field goals they got. So.
What? Who else do you like? You got any other QBWR stacks that you're doing?
I mean, I know we said it last week, and it was kind of a bust for us, I think, which was, we said Gronk, who really only put up 8 points.
Yeah.
And
Brady.
Brady
had a good game.
Brady had a decent game. I think he got 18 points, 19 points. But I think this week against the Giants, I think that's still, how could you not still pick that? Especially
54 point. 54 point total there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
we're
big
under.
total. All the points you
Big
scored in
total.
that game.
You got some good
Gotta
quarterbacks,
imagine
some
it's gonna be
arms.
Brady.
I mean, the Patriots, to tell you the truth, they don't have the greatest defense. You know, when they're stacked up against the other, they were ranked somewhat low. And the Giants, as we know, are basically in last place for defense. So I think you're going to see a high-scoring game here.
Well, yeah, and I like Gronk this week because last week he had a bad week, but you could almost see that coming because it was home against the Redskins. They're likely not going to need to pull out all the stops. They're probably going to win pretty soundly. No big, you know what I mean? Like they're going to kind of turn to the run game, and that kind of happened.
Where the hell was this last week?
But no, I mean, compared to this week, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where this is a 54-point.
Well, and they're away.
They're
away
at the Giants.
Right.
This is historically these two teams score.
Well, and the dude with three fingers is back. What's his name?
Yeah, JP3.
JP3. He's back, and he's gonna put some pressure on Brady, and that's gonna make Brady throw quicker snaps. That's just I don't know.
Yeah. So you like Brady Gronk?
I like Brady Gronk,
and
I
paying
like
for them.
Yeah, I mean you are paying for them.
That's a big price tag. It's the only thing.
It is a price tag. I think there's so many running backs to pick from this week that you can
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So you're gonna kind of you got a lot of backs you like.
Yeah.
You're willing to gamble on.
Yeah. So.
Fair enough. All right, Tom. What do you think? Quarterback, receiver stack.
Well, I like Rodgers to take revenge at home this week. I like him to keep up the rapport with Randall Cobb after they missed each other the past couple weeks, and I knew that they were going to get back on track last week. So Cobb had a couple nice plays, including a touchdown. But on a cheaper level, I love Carr to Cooper. I think he's home, and Carr the past two games has had the past three games. I think it was 4 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, and he's approaching 300 yards in all those games. And Cooper's way beyond a rookie this year. He's playing, very savvy. So I think for $5,800 for Carr and $6,800 for Cooper, you can get that stack and still afford some, real nice value at the other positions.
Nice. And how much is Carr right now?
Only $5,800.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. But you liked Crabtree the past 2 weeks, and he's performed. Now you're switching it back to Cooper.
Yeah. I mean, I like both of them, but I just think it's going to be Cooper's week at home. To maybe get a multi-touchdown game.
All right, fair enough. Well, two stacks I like. The first one is the more expensive one, which is Eli Odell. That's just that game, 54 points. It's who are the Giants scoring with? Apparently they're going to score a lot of points. It's got to be Eli Odell. It just has to be, in my opinion. So that's going to be a stack that I put in a lot of lineups this week. I'll probably reverse it with LaFell, to be honest, because LaFell's still cheap, and I think that Edelman's a little hobbled, right? And he fumbled again last week.
Yeah,
so.
I like LaFell. I think it's a great stack, and more likely that a lot of people aren't going to pick him.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to go New England, you're either going to pick Gronk or you're going to pick Edelman. Maybe Blunt this week.
And I would love to reverse stack Eli Odell with Gronk, but I just don't think I'll be able to afford all that.
Super expensive.
Yeah, it's too expensive. So LaFell would be a nice reverse stack, some stuff like that. But I also like Kirk Cousins. The only problem is I don't really know who to stack him with. So that's a little bit of a problem. But, I don't really want to stack him with Deshaun Jackson.
Probably Jordan Reed.
Yeah, exactly. They're tight ends. But I hate doing stacks with tight ends if it's not Gronk because they just don't have a high enough ceiling usually. Except, Eifert last week, obviously. But
and Delaney.
Yeah.
Right? Walker.
So actually tight ends did have some games last week. But I like Kirk Cousins a lot. He's 5,200. And he's home versus New Orleans, who is last in the league against the pass. So
yeah.
I like Kirk Cousins a lot. I don't know really who to stack him with, but I really like the Eli Odell stack. So,
nice.
Yeah. And
all right, what are we moving on to?
Running backs.
Tom,
why don't you start us out with some of the running back plays you like and why?
All right, well, I'm spending mid on running backs this week. There wasn't really a expensive guy that I thought was worth investing on. I'm going to spend the majority of my money on receivers this week. So that being said, I like McCoy again at 5,500, even though we talked about him, ceding certain important looks to Carlos Williams. He still has about 100 yards and a touchdown in each of the past 3 weeks. So for 5,500, he's good value, and he's only a couple plays away, basically a Rex Ryan decision away from, a really big game. And then also I like LeGarrette Blount, Lamar Miller, 4,900 and 5,400. Both are under 5,500, and give you value in different ways. Blunt is now the lead back in a high-scoring game with Deion Lewis being sidelined, and Lamar Miller's is getting a lot of receptions as well as being the featured player on Miami. So those three guys I like this week.
And all high point totals. I think it's important to note in those.
Mm-hmm.
But you do like all the way running backs.
Right, and I don't normally like doing that, but and that's what scares me about Blunt is that even if what Patriots aren't going to get down, so it's not that scary. But for whatever reason, if they did, he's not going to get any receptions. So that's the only reason I don't like him. But that being said, I still think he'll be good.
All right, yeah, no, I like a lot of those plays. I like Blunt just because. I wouldn't put him in all my lineups, but I'd definitely stick him in a few because he's the kind of guy, if they, as you said before, the Patriots often decide to feature the run or the pass, mostly the pass this season, but every now and then it is the run, and now they're just going to pound Blunt if that's their decision.
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, if they get inside the 5 or 10, they're going to run Blunt, so I think Blunt's a good play at his price. But Bill, what are you thinking about running backs this week?
Running backs this week, Todd Gurley, again, he's expensive. It's on the high end. That's what I pay for. I mean, it's Seattle at home, right? They're -7. I just think every week this guy's been a beast, and he's just, outperforming himself almost every week. The other one I like is Starks. I like Starks at home. Green Bay at home, as long as Lacey, isn't starting.
Yeah.
But
Doesn't matter. They're done with Lacey.
Yeah, I think they're done with Lacey too. I think they're -11, right? So I mean, they're again another one that I would assume. Rodgers been doing halfway decent. It's not like he's been really throwing the ball. Starks last week had a decent, pretty awesome game. I think he's gonna have the same breakout game.
Yeah.
I think Cobb's kind of missed out on his, Cobb and
Green Bay is just a weird team.
It's just I don't know what happened. Honestly, it's like they lost that one game and all of a sudden they kind of just So, but those would be my two. I think it would be Starks. I also like. Those would be my two.
All right. Well, I like a lot of home backs. Big surprise there, but I love just the one away back I like is Mark Ingram this week. That's a high point total game, and I honestly see the Saints losing this game. What's the line on that again?
The line on the Saints?
Yeah, they're +1 at Washington.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's absurd to me. So they're gonna lose this game.
Yeah, I guess so.
But I like Mark Ingram, and what that says to me is that Drew Brees might have a decent game and definitely not a good one, and his receivers are gonna struggle. I think Mark Ingram will have a good game though. But I love DeMarco Murray. He's my favorite running back this week. He's 6,200. He's home versus the Dolphins, who just don't look good on defense. They lost Cameron Wake too, but that's a big pass defender guy, but their defense just doesn't look good, and that's a high point total of 48. Miami's 24th against the run, so he'll be my big spend. I like Gurley too, but since he'll be drafted so high, I might put him in less lineups. I might put Murray in more lineups than Gurley, and then I like Doug Martin, home versus Dallas, who's 25th against the run, and I like Ivory, but I probably won't draft him a lot because he's having such a hard time with the yards. So he's getting touchdowns, but he's just not consistent with any yardage. And he's playing against Rex Ryan, who is historically a tough defensive coach. So Ivory will be in there at 5,900, but not in a whole lot. So, and I also like D'Angelo Williams.
Yep.
For 6,500, who's home versus Cleveland, who's 29th versus the run. So I like a lot of those backs, like you said earlier. There's even more that I like too.
Yeah.
It's just like Forsett, and I could go on and on because this week to me, I love running backs.
Yeah. Well,
receivers are kind of the tough one.
Yeah, look at the running backs. With the injuries that came in, right? From Chicago, right? He got out.
Forte
got out, right? So he was out. They got Langford in there who scored, did an awesome job.
Yeah.
I mean, just did an awesome job.
You could see that coming. And were they away last week? Is that the why I didn't
They were away.
gamble? That's why I didn't gamble on Langford.
Because
I did like him as a gamble, but I was like,
Dude,
they're away against San Diego, blah, blah, blah.
I mean, the game was awesome. It got down to, of course, San Diego struggling the last minute. More Chicago fans than there are, San Diego chants.
Yeah.
It was like that when we were there, right? I mean, it seems like every time we were there, nobody's wearing the colors. Nobody gave a shit. 2 blackout games, right? It was just closed down. They're moving to LA, whatever. The other thing I was gonna say is D'Angelo Williams, right? Bell gets out, boom. Has like an incredible game, right?
170 yards.
Really?
The only thing that he has a swollen foot. Is that what's going on?
That's what it is. The swollen foot. I mean, it's questionable, but I mean, honestly, that guy could have one leg and he'd still put up 25 points.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere. He's playing, and Tomlin's gonna pump him full of some cortisone.
Yeah, he's gonna get back out there.
Yeah. All right. So I love D'Angelo too, and Cleveland's a terrible run defense in their home versus them. So.
Well, if he does have that foot though.
And Landry's playing. Is that right? Or is Big Ben playing? Does anyone know?
I think it's Landry. I'm not positive though.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then you gotta like him even more.
Right. Well,
you have to ride him until Big Ben comes back. I don't even know.
It might be a good point to also add here at this point that last week Antonio Brown he ended up getting a lot of the receiving points too because he was the second back. So especially if you have now that they're comfortable and they know how to do that, and you have D'Angelo Williams with a swollen foot. I mean, it's a possibility that he might get even more receiving points than he did last week.
Yeah. No. It's clear to me that something with Big Ben and Antonio Brown is going on that's unstoppable in the league. And when Big Ben's out, you can't pay for Antonio Brown.
Right.
It's just that simple. Antonio Brown still might get you a good game, but his price is like when Big Ben's there, you can't miss. I mean, this was going on at a ridiculous level before he just had 280 yards last week. This was already happening at like 180, 240, 170, 220. It was like, whoa, this is ridiculous. And then Big Ben's second game back, or I don't know, it was his first, they just explode again. So I'm not going to pick Antonio Brown unless Big Ben's out there.
That's a good point.
Just because his price is too high.
Yeah.
But he's an unbelievable receiver. So, all right, we're done with running backs then. Let's move to a couple value wide receivers that we like. I'll start it off. Bill, you were talking about Robinson earlier. I love him at 6,700 because basically Hearns and Robinson have been splitting this absurd amount of fantasy points, and now Hearns is gone.
Yep.
And that's a high point total in there. They're at Baltimore, which is 32nd against the wide receiver. So, I mean, that's my big wide receiver play this week. That he's not even that expensive. He's probably like the 12th most expensive receiver or something. And I think he's my big play this week. I mentioned before I love LaFell just because of his price, 4,100. And he's versus the Giants, who are just an atrocious defense, especially against the pass this year. 54-point total. Someone's got to score all those points. I think it's going to be a high-scoring, pass-heavy game. I like LaFell to get 4,100 worth, if not a lot more, of those fantasy points. And there's a few others I like. I like Jarvis Landry. I like Kamar Aiken because Baltimore is no one to throw it to, and it's a high-point total. But those are the two that I really like. I also like Diggs this week, too, at 5,100. But who do you like, Bill?
I mean, wide receiver, I just feel like there's so many, because there's awesome running backs, which I'm actually feeling a flex in for a running back, so I'm going to go light on wide receivers. But I like, God. I mean, as I said before, I like Robinson. I think he's a good pick, especially with Broyles. I do like, Odell, but he's so damn expensive.
I think it's worth it to pay for him though in this game, especially if there was ever.
Well, you're right. I mean, who are they going to throw it to, right? I mean, that's what it comes down to.
They don't throw it to anyone else. Like it's just like Antonio Brown and Big Ben, except a little lesser. Like
if you want to spend half the price and hope, you could go with Reuben Randall, but he's only getting 3 catches a week.
I tried that last year and with him and the backups. I've been trying it this year, and it just never works. Every time I go back, he just doesn't disappoint.
Yeah.
And in that game, they're gonna need him, I feel like this is gonna be interesting though. We'll see if Belichick can take him away. I don't think he can. I think Eli and Odell is that Antonio Brown Roethlisberger type. connection. We'll see if Belichick's good enough to take that away.
Two guys under 4,500 I like are Nate Washington on the Texans playing opposite DeAndre Hopkins.
Yep.
They're in a 10-point underdog game away on the road at Cincinnati. And assuming Cincinnati does everything they can to game plan against DeAndre Hopkins, Nate Washington should, be able to exploit some single coverage. He's had a couple nice games the past couple weeks. And then also Devontae Adams, who's, that big physical type receiver on Green Bay, where, Cobb is hit or miss, and, a couple of other guys aren't really threats. Devontae Adams came in and had, 7 catches, 100 yards, and a touchdown last week, so he could be another good week at home, in a high-scoring game.
All right. No, I like those. I was thinking a lot about this week about reverse stacks, so I don't know if it's going to work out, but I'm going to be doing all reverse stacks this week, I think. So while we're talking about the wide receiver position, I'm going to make sure, because I think in the last 3 weeks we've seen every example of it. Every time there's
definitely.
whatever, it's worth it to pick that guy in the reverse one. It seems like all the biggest point scorers have that.
Pick the big game, right?
And you know what it's been?
That's
also,
what
it's been in the Saints games both weeks.
Well, yeah, it has been, but the Saints have been home
It's
each
been like
week.
Breeze and whatever,
Yeah.
Watson and Snead or whatever, and then the reverse stack of that game.
I think
which was Odell the one time.
Yeah, I think playing the special sauce to that, playing in a dome with two teams who have not so good defenses with decent quarterbacks.
Right.
Then all of a sudden you have a high scoring
Let it
game.
fly.
It doesn't matter. It's going back and forth. And they both have decent running games, but not really. That's really the secret sauce to this.
Yes.
Two decent quarterbacks in a really well conditioned place like a dome. Who have at the bottom of the barrel defenses.
No, I agree. I think I like that recipe a lot. All right, so let's move to tight ends. Unless anyone else has something to say about receivers, or we good on tight ends here.
Yeah.
This week, as my expensive tight end, I like Greg Olsen at Tennessee for 6,300. Tennessee and Carolina are actually bad against the tight end this year, 26th and 32nd. So both decent plays. Delaney Walker is my second play, so I like the tight ends in that game.
Yep.
And
Kendall Wright's still out, right?
yeah, exactly. So there's less targets for Tennessee. So I think Delaney Walker has a big game here. I think Greg Olsen does too, but I think that it's a weird line, which we'll get into in a few minutes, to where I like Delaney Walker at 4,700 slightly more. And I also like Reed at home versus the Saints.
Yeah.
Because who the hell else is Cousins going to throw it to? And he's
exactly.
playing well, and it's a high point to yada, yada, yada. So
Yeah.
he's 4,600 and Delaney's 47. I like those two a lot. But I might spend on Greg Olsen.
I go kind of crazy off this one. I go Gilmore from Baltimore. I think with Steve Smith out, they have Aiken to throw to, but and Forsett.
Is that ever a position you want to be in as a team? To have Aiken to throw to?
Aiken and Gilmore?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So, I mean, Baltimore's coming off a bye, right? But
that's true.
I still think that they're.
Flacco's a gunslinger.
Yep.
I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, too.
I hope it is. I think it's going to be Gilmore, Flacco to Gilmore, and then I think it's going to be Bortles to Robinson, and we're going to see a decent game go back and forth. But that's I also like Brainridge. Again, I know last week he had he really threw a goose egg, but it's Cleveland. They're against Pittsburgh. McCown's out, right? So I mean they got. Menzel throwing to Brainridge. I think they're going to throw it short. They're not going to throw it long. And it's against Pitt at home. So
yeah, I think that's good. I think that's a safe play for him as Brainridge. Menzel's not going to beat them down the field.
I think who knows.
What do you got, Tom? You got any?
I agree with you guys are saying. I do like Jordan Reed as well against New Orleans, and the only one I'll add in there is Zach Ertz at Philly. I think he's putting together some nice weeks and shaking off some rust from not playing in the preseason. And right now he's 3,000 and he's had about 5 catches for 50 yards the past 4 weeks. So I think him and Bradford are building a rapport, and I'm pretty sure he's going to get his first touchdown this week. So I don't mind him for a cheap price.
All right, cool. Let's finish up with team defenses then. I got a few that I like. Are there any that stick out to you guys before I rifle the guys I like off?
Pittsburgh. I like Pittsburgh. Obviously St. Louis. And my only other one.
So you like Pitt at home against Cleveland.
Yeah.
For 3,000, and St. Louis at home.
They're like 3,600.
Chicago for 3,600.
Yeah. I think those are the two that I picked, honestly.
Yeah, those are two of mine. They're both home Ds, tough defenses against like shaky offenses. I do have to say I like Pitt a little more in that situation. Just because Chicago has a little bit sturdier of an offense right now.
Yeah, that's a good call.
And it's a dome, but St. Louis could shake them up. But I'll probably fade St. Louis a little bit because of the high price tag, but I do like them. But I love Pitt this week at home against Cleveland. I love them. I think they might force Manziel into a bunch of mistakes. It's just a good scenario for that defense. And 3,000's pretty cheap considering the other teams I like are Denver, who's 3,400 at home against the Chiefs. They could wreak havoc there.
Well, yeah, it's the lowest over under.
Which
right?
one? Denver,
Pitt is.
KC.
Pitt is.
Oh, Pitt, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great point. So 41, lowest total. So I think that line suggests a nice 20-7 win, a 23-7 win. And then the last defense I like Cincy at home versus Houston, and also as a stretch I like Oakland at home against the Vikings. I don't think that's by any means a great one, but it's 2,100 and it'll be low drafted, and it seems like Oakland is just a weird, tough place to play.
And Bridgewater's banged up, isn't he? So
yeah, I think so.
I don't know if he's in any danger of missing it, but that's something to keep your eye on.
Yeah, so Oakland gets lucky and gets a few interceptions or fumbles for touchdowns. They're a gambly defense. And I also like that Bridgewater is a running quarterback because those types of quarterbacks can take more sacks. They'll just take a 2-yard sack, no problem. It happens a lot with those running quarterbacks. So, Raiders defense might get an extra 5 points, 4 points, or whatever just from that dynamic. And then, so they're not going to get you that goose egg or one like some of those other gambly defenses will, because you're against a running quarterback. So, Tom, you like any defenses stand out to you?
This week I'm eyeing the Broncos. I think that they're on a mission right now. They still feel disrespected. They had that huge win against, at home against the Packers, and they made Rodgers, look human. And now they're playing Alex Smith, who really can't beat anybody down the field. So I think that game's going to get ugly. I see a lot of sacks. I see, the Chiefs being able to do absolutely nothing. And I think that Peyton's going to use it as a opportunity to, maybe get up 30-0 and win 40-7 or 40-10. I think it's going to be a statement game for the Broncos. So I like paying for their defense at 3,400.
I love that. I agree. They'll definitely be in a good portion of my lineups. All right, well, that wraps it up for Daily Fantasy. Let's go over some of these lines. Let's talk about some of these games this week. Let's start with the Bills at the Jets. The Jets minus 2.5, and the over/under is 43. You want to start this off? Any opinions of this game?
I like the Jets here. I think that they're going to come in and really revel in the fact that they can beat Rex Ryan at home. I see him playing it safe with Ivory as much as possible, but with Fitzpatrick in there, Marshall and Decker, I think they'll win by probably 7. My prediction.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what exactly to think of this game. This is a game I wouldn't bet because I'd love to see the public percentage on this, but I looked at them earlier and it wasn't anything crazy. So I think this is just a good line. That 2.5 point line scares me though. So I would pick the Jets, but I wouldn't bet this game. Bill, you got any opinions of this?
Yeah, I'm taking the under this game. At 43, I'm taking the under this game. I think that you got some wide receivers banged up on both sides. Even Sammy Watkins, honestly, that guy's always injured. He had a great game last week, which is probably another thing that one of the other wide receivers I was thinking about, because last week he was 5K. I'm sure he's cheap this week too. Put up 33 points, but again, I think
is he out? Is Watkins out?
He's questionable. And like he's saying, so are Decker and Marshall. Who knows if all
exactly.
will play?
So it's going to be a running game. It's going to be a running game. I think you got
McCoy, Carlos Williams, and Ivory.
Yeah,
there's a bunch of hurt quarterbacks and receivers that aren't even that great to begin with, quarterbacks wise.
Right. Exactly.
I like that.
Both D's are not, so it's going to be a low scoring game.
Both D's are good.
Yeah. I think it's going to be 18-12 or something ridiculous. Where it's
you know what? If I had to bet that game, that is what I'd bet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that line. That line is very scary. That line is very strange to me.
Yeah, mine is 2.5. I would stay away from. That just sounds.
Yeah, it's just come on.
It's like you said, it's a perfect line.
I can't bet Buffalo. I could never do that. Yeah. But I also can't bet the Jets because somehow.
Yeah.
So I do like the end. That's a great point. All right, let's move on to Detroit at Green Bay. Green Bay's minus 11 and a hook here. Over under's 48. I just think that Green Bay. Tom said it a moment ago when he was talking about was it their team D or I can't remember which exactly you were talking about. Maybe it was Rodgers from one of your stacks, but that Green Bay was just gonna turn the corner this week. They've had 2 rough weeks, and people are a little down on them, and I think. Detroit is one of those teams, though, that is slightly better than they look, but I think Green Bay wins here and very convincingly. So, and I also like the under this game. I think they're going to win something like 31-10. So.
Yeah. I'm slightly on the same line. I think it's going to be exactly 48. I think it's going to be 24-14. And I think that,
Wait, 34-14.
No, 24-14.
That's 38.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, then I like the under. Anyway, yeah, I like the under.
I see a 10-point game myself. I think it's going to be Green Bay has it in hand majority of the game, either by 17 or 21, and then backdoor cover with Stafford just slinging it nonstop in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So
Stafford's the backdoor cover king.
Exactly.
Him and Luck.
So I think it's be a 7 to 10-point game, and Vegas knows that.
Fair enough. Well, weird game to bet, that's for sure. I don't love anyone there.
Yeah, probably stay away.
Dallas at Bucks. Tampa Bay is minus 1.5 with a 43 over under. And this is a strange line to me slightly, but I like. I don't know who I like in this game. This is when I
For me, it's a lockup. I put Tampa Bay. I put my finger on it. I just do. At 1.5, Tampa Bay. Mike Evans looks strong. Doug Martin looks strong. Dallas. I just see Tampa Bay is a stronger team than people think they are. I don't know, especially at home. I think the last game they played, it was in the rain. I don't know. That was a struggle. I watched that game all the way through, and I thought they looked
better
tough.
than that.
They did. They are. They're better than that. They look tough. Especially with I don't know if Jenkins is coming back, the tight end.
He's still out. I can't find it on him.
No, he's still out.
Yeah, as far as I know, he's still out. I'm not positive, but
Well, I don't know. I take Tampa Bay here. I'm probably crazy, but I hate any line that's ever under 3. I don't trust it. Start questioning my morals. But for some reason I like Tampa Bay here. I think Tampa Bay is a stronger team.
Yeah, well, all right. So if I had to bet this is a game that's strange to me, on a lot more levels than usual. Like, basically, I thought Tampa would be favored by 3 here. So they're favored by 1.5, which to me signifies a Dallas line. Just off the basic principle of I am the public, I got to go against that. Vegas is setting the line at a line that begs me to pick Tampa.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a Dallas line. But then you look at the public percentage.
Yeah.
Public percentage is 78% on Dallas.
Yeah.
So that makes me want to take Tampa.
What? Nobody's ever bet on Tampa Bay.
Well, I think but I think you just raised a good point. Like,
right.
I don't think people even remember that the Bucks are from there.
Right.
They're like, Tampa Bay, what the fuck? Like, all right, no. So like Dallas, yeah, American team. Like, I would absolutely have to, if I bet this game, which I won't. bet on Tampa Bay here just because the public is against them, and I think it's because Dallas is somewhat of a public macho favorite team. However, I do think this line is a little low, and that's why I won't bet it.
Yeah.
What do you think, Tom?
If I had to touch it, I'd take the over. I just don't think anybody's on either side of the ball that can tackle people. I just think
It's
that's,
a weird under, too, for that game.
you know, you would think it'd be higher, but
Tampa, is playing 30 games every week.
because Winston and Castle, I guess they're tempering their expectations, but I think it's going to be high scoring.
No, I really like that. I like that thought. All right, so let's move on to Carolina at Tennessee.
This is my home dog money line pick of the week.
I love it.
Tennessee to take out undefeated
I
Carolina
love it.
because the line should be bigger.
Mariota's playing great.
He is. He's a good player, and like
I thought that line would be 7. Actually, when you were reading me the lines, I was like, all right, if it's 6, all right. But if it's 7, then I don't even want to touch it. It's 4.5.
Yeah, I like Tennessee.
I mean, as much as I think Carolina's gonna kick the shit out of them, the line is too low. It's a Tennessee, and just based on that, and also 79% of the public is on Carolina.
Yeah.
So I take Tennessee plus 4.5 here.
This is probably the game that Carolina loses.
Isn't that weird?
I mean, they've gotten close all the games that they've won. It's not like they're crushing by 20. You know what I mean? They're there by the skin of their balls. Like, it's not pretty. It works. They get it through somehow, and
somehow they're gonna lose against the Titans for their first loss.
Yeah, I mean,
and this line really says that too. It's like, if they were the powerhouse playing at lowly Tennessee, like the Patriots are the real powerhouse. They're favored by a touchdown or more when they're away. This is not a real powerhouse if they're at Tennessee and they're only favored by 4. That's what Vegas is saying, at least. Whether they're right or wrong, who knows? But that's what that line says to me.
yeah. I think you're right. I think this is the game that Carolina loses. But
it might be the butt pick, Tennessee the pick of the week. I don't know. It's close. I mean, I hope to pick something again. Not against the undefeated hottest team in the league. All right, so let's move on from there. We got Chicago at St. Louis. St. Louis is -7. Total of 42.5. Sounds like a game to stay away from if you're trying to have a good time this Sunday. But
yeah, I would agree. I'm staying away from this game. I just I think that's too close of a call for me, honestly.
I mean, just watching it,
just generally watching.
It's gonna be a really, really dumb.
I mean, I'll tell you what. Every team that St. Louis has played, it has been very low scoring. It is not.
Cutler makes games fake interesting. I think it's a really strange thing that he's able to do.
Well, him and Stafford have that in common. That backdoor, get down and don't give a shit until there's 10 minutes left syndrome. But I honestly do like Chicago with the +7, and I think
I like their money line.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they can win outright, and that's what I was going to say next. Is that Cutler's better than Foles, Jeffrey's better than Tavon or Kenny Britt, and Bennett's better than their tight end who got 1 target last week. Yeah, Gurley's nasty, and so is the St. Louis D, but that's all they got. They're masking how terrible they are at every other position.
I think that what we fail to realize too, or not we, but we as in the public, is that both of these teams have outstanding offensive lines. Both of these teams have good quarterbacks, basically, 2 different quarterbacks, and great running backs.
Yeah.
Chicago's running backs hurt, and they got Langford in now, so Forte's out. But both of these running backs on these teams have succeeded in every game, so their offensive lines are sound.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be a blowout. It'll be close.
Yeah, you tell me to pick one guy, I'm going with the team with the better quarterback, which is Cutler.
In this game especially, I think the Bears win this one outright, and they're +7. So that's how I feel about the game for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Bill, you got any thoughts on the Bears at St. Louis other than you might not watch it because anything else is better?
No, I mean I'm probably gonna stick to that.
All right, so let's move on to the Saints at the Redskins. Redskins are +1 in a 50-point total game, so that's cool. What do we think about this? I mean, Saints look like, I don't know who they look like. They got high-powered offense with no defense. They're playing at Washington. Seems like the Saints should win this game. They should be favored. Yet they're underdogs
You
by
would
1
think
point.
you could put an 11, like another one next to Washington. You know, make them plus 11, not plus 1, and I would almost think that's the way it's supposed to be. You know, like that's
Weird.
how that's how
that's
confused
true.
I am by
Yeah,
this
that's
line.
true.
Like, there's no way Washington should be only plus a point. There's no way.
So I'm clearly taking Washington here.
Yes, we're not going to San Diego. The whole fun's going to Washington.
Yeah, exactly. 84% of the public is on New Orleans here. It's one of the 3 games that I like this week. Is
How are
the
they
Washington
+1?
I don't know. That's my point.
Oh,
They should be at least +3, if not +4 or more.
wow.
But they're +1.
And like Saints are just booming and banging, 6 touchdowns the past 2 weeks.
I mean, I guess what they're trying to
is on fire. Like,
yeah.
It just reminds me of every time the Saints travel at the Jets and they lose outright and they're 6-point favorites. This is that game.
unbelievable.
I just feel like the whole New Orleans team, if they leave a certain distance from New Orleans, all of a sudden they start powering down.
So right. No, it's these
You know?
weird outdoor away games and they can't. I'm unable to do it since day one in New Orleans. They won that Super Bowl that year. Thank God they had home field advantage because they can't play in certain away stadiums. They can't. And this line does this line not say exactly that?
I'm not
Like,
touching the line, but I'll take the under if I had
84%.
to. If I had to touch the game, I'd take the under. Just because I've seen Breeze struggle on those outdoor stadiums like you guys are
Yeah.
saying. So maybe it's like 14-13, Washington ekes it out or something. Or like something gross.
I think Washington literally wins by 11 points. Like something
Probably
weird.
21-10.
Yeah, exactly. Like they put together like a 28 to 18,
Get a defensive
17,
pick 6.
28 to 17.
They're definitely getting a pick 6, correct?
Sure.
The first score of the game is definitely Breeze getting pick 6, just so Vegas is just like licking their
And the
fingers.
Saints, the Saints' value is a little overhyped right now, and Washington's value is a little underhyped.
Ugh.
That still doesn't give reason for that.
No,
line.
still doesn't.
That line is
Unbelievable.
too goddamn low.
All right, let's move on.
Alright, so
This
Washington is a good pick.
Unbelievable.
That's the one of the pick of the week runnings. I don't know. All right, Miami at Philly next game. Philly is -6, and the over/under is 47. Thoughts?
Ugh.
I like the over of this game, and that's it.
Yeah, I don't see. I mean, Philly's really banged up at linebacker now too. I mean, Miami's lost the presence of Wake, like you were
Miami's
saying.
D can't stop anyone, even in their big wins.
I mean, it looks
It's
like
like 20 plus.
it looks like a good spot for the over.
So
Yeah, and honestly, I'd take Miami's money line too, just because I do feel like these teams are kind of even. So I feel like it'll be high scoring and maybe a 3-point game either way. So I would take the points if I had to.
Bill, any opinions or thoughts of this game?
No, I probably sway with you guys. I think I would take the over. I think I don't know, -6 to me. It just seems.
Yeah, I'll probably put a little on the over this week of that game. I don't know. The line's just a weird line. I don't like
It's a weird
6-point lines. When the home dog's +6, I actually love that line. But
Yeah.
when the home team is -6, I never know what the hell to do with that. So, all right, let's go forward with the Browns at the Steelers. Pittsburgh is -4.5 and a 41-point total, lowest total of the week.
I like Pitt to win. I think this might be one of the biggest blowouts of the week. I think it's just kind of hidden, but at the same, I feel like there's 2 things hidden this week. I feel like that's kind of hidden, and actually, in the next game I'll talk about, but part of it. But yeah, I think this week Pitt wins this by 2 touchdowns or more. They're just better, even with those different position quarterbacks. Like you give me any of those 3, Vic, Landry, Jones, or Roethlisberger, I'd still take them to win because they're playing Manziel. And, Cleveland has nice defense and offensive lines, but that's like it.
It's one of those weird interdivision games. I don't know what to think of it. So,
Like, how many points can Manziel really put up on the road?
Like, I love Pitt, but I wouldn't bet this game. It's just one of those weird games.
Yeah.
The line should be 7 to me. What the fuck is it 4.5?
I feel like the interconference respect is the only
I like
reason.
the under again of this game.
Yeah.
I like either
20
a low scoring
20 to 10,
Cleveland,
20 to
like
7.
whatever, or a huge win like 30-7 by Pitt.
Yeah, all
So I
those.
like the under mostly of this game, but
And it's probably the lowest total of the week, so
it is at 41.
Yeah. yeah, I like the under too.
All right, let's go Jags at Ravens. Ravens are -5.5, and it's a 48-point total.
This is one that I just think is going to be a shootout, and it's hidden, the third highest point total or something. But I feel like both defenses are terrible, and it's just going to be an absolute shootout from the get go. Even the running backs, I don't know, I just don't see them being used that much. Forsett more in the passing game, with Mark Trestman throwing the ball to him a lot.
Forsett's a DFS play I like this week because of this game.
Mm-hmm.
I like Forsett and Robinson on the other side, but
kind of like Yeldon too on a sneak play, but the fact that he's an away running back for Jacksonville isn't very appealing. But
this is a strange game. I don't know what to think of this game. A part of me wants to bet Baltimore. Part of me wants to bet the Jags. Part of me wants to bet the over. I just don't think this is a good game to bet at all. If you're going to tell me to chop off a hand and bet it, I bet the Jags money line. I just think they're a better team than Baltimore this year. But I would never bet this game. So let's go Minnesota at Oakland. This is the exacta of the week. Oakland -3. 44-point total. So,
Oakland.
Yeah, exactly. They look great. This line's a little low to me. I think this line should be -4. But Oakland's a weird team that wins away and loses at home kind of thing.
The black hole. Come on.
It's a tough place to play for some reason. Line's a little low, but
it's that baseball field.
I still like Oakland. I think Oakland, although this is a good game, and I just think that this is going to be Oakland wins by 3, so you should just pick an exacta. Just get 20-1 that Oakland wins by exactly 3.
I mean, Carr is super hot. Bridgewater got hurt last week. It's not like he's questionable, whatever. I just think
they're talking a dome team going halfway across country in the South against an away tough stadium.
Sure.
That line should be fucking 5.
Yeah. I mean, I like Oakland here. I mean,
I do too, and I'm gonna go with the public on that one.
Public's on. Yeah, they're
slightly, 65.
Good job, public.
Yeah. Good job, public. You win every now and then. Keep gambling. All right, but Tom, you have any thoughts on that game? Or are you gonna move on?
I like the exacta play. That's about it.
Yeah, exactly. Getting 20-1 at -3 on that game is just a great bet.
It's a savvy play for that game.
Okay, Chiefs at Broncos. Broncos -6.5 with a 42-point total. Peyton Manning and 42-point total. That's when you hang him up, bro. No. All right. So, anyone have any thoughts on this game?
I'm all over Denver. I think KC's just gonna get destroyed, and I see 20. I do think it's going to be 31-7, 31-10, that kind of game. 31-10 actually, because that would be perfect for Vegas. That would make sense. But I think this Denver and Denver and Pitt are the two home teams that are going to really kill this week, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, no, I like your thoughts on that. This is a game I wouldn't bet. If I had to, I'd bet Denver, but I can see a clear reason to bet the Chiefs, but too many more to bet Denver, and I'm not betting this game, but I'll bet Denver. Their defense is so strong.
Mm-hmm.
All right, 2 more games. We got the Patriots at the Giants. So the Patriots are -7 at the Giants, and that's, in my opinion, that's how you know you're a true powerhouse, is when you play another good team away and you're a touchdown or over favorite. I mean, that's the mark of something that just doesn't happen often in this league. It really, really doesn't.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're playing at Tennessee or something. They're playing at the Giants and they're a touchdown favorite.
Speaks to the Giants' defensive liabilities, perhaps.
Yeah, they can't stop anybody, at least through the air. I mean, obviously Breeze is Breeze, but they clearly have proven game in and game out they can't stop. They're just not a good defense.
And they don't have a consistent running game, so they're relying on Odell, basically, like you were saying before. I mean, that's it. That's all they really have.
But they can. It's weird. Eli and Odell will get open. I don't think Belichick stops him. I mean, he might slow him down a bit. He doesn't stop him, though. And I think Giants win this game.
Nice. You think the Giants win?
Yeah.
Two on the Giants, and then also
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Yeah, and I also think Chicago beats the Rams as 7-point dogs too.
Wow.
Tennessee, I don't know if they'll win or not, but I think they will. I think they'll lose by a field goal a lot in that game though. So I think they might still lose, and Carolina might remain undefeated.
That makes sense.
But I like Chicago as 7-point dogs. I like Miami as 6-point dogs. There's a lot of I like Jacksonville as 5.5. There's a lot of 6-ish point dogs I like. I swear to God, I even like the Chiefs. I don't love them, but this is weird division games. But yeah, I like the Giants at home. So I think the Patriots have looked somewhat human. They played the Redskins last week and they looked phenomenal. I don't know. I think they're gonna lose this year, and this is the game they lose. That's all there is to it.
This is an exact I like. I think that Patriots are gonna have it handled majority of the game, but Eli will be able to come back and lose by 7, trying to make a furious comeback. I just think it lines up nice for that.
I think JP3 just fucking has a game. He literally just. I think he really hits Brady. And I think they get to Brady. They might not sack him a lot, but they get to him. They rush him a lot. I think that's what happens.
No.
Coughlin's played Brady a lot of times now, by the way, with success. So he's an interesting coach to have against Brady.
Oh, man. I don't know how I feel about this game. I think...
It's a game you have to bet, though, Bill. Sunday Night Football, Patriots, Giants.
It's
so
a game I gotta bet.
Like, for 1 second, we're not going to bet it.
All right, it's a game I gotta bet. Like, you know what? I take the under. I think that's what I do. I think it's gonna be like a, I mean, my math was so good last
28-27,
time.
28-24.
Yeah, I just had, I think they.
20-27 covers.
Yeah.
20-24.
Take them both.
Yeah.
Take the under. And also take the Giants.
All right.
I don't think the Giants are gonna win, but I think they're gonna cover.
Yeah, I think it stays close. These two teams, I mean, they've changed a lot with...
they might win.
Well, here's the thing, is that these two teams have changed a lot with their players.
Yeah.
But their coaching staff and their ownership, their quarterbacks, and some of their core things in those organizations have stayed the exact same.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a good game. These two teams always match up well each other.
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to the end, but what's going to determine the factor is the running game, and the Giants just don't have it. But I think it's going to be really, really freaking close.
All right, so I like it. I can't wait for that game. By the way, that's my favorite game I get to watch. And Sunday night, like I'm super psyched for that. All right, Arizona at Seattle, last game, Monday Night Football. Seattle is -3, and Arizona is coming off of a bye. Is Seattle as well? Are they both coming off a bye?
Seattle maybe. I don't
think
remember them
like
playing last week.
I think they are. So -3 Seattle. Total is 45.
I love the under. Division game. I think it's going to try to be controlled on the ground, especially with Arizona going up there with Chris Johnson, and I just think it's going to be a low scoring game, maybe 20-13 final. But the exact is not looking too bad either, because I think it'll be kind of close. So a 3-point game. I like the exact is in this game, the Oakland game, and the Giant game. So 3-3-7, but
it's like a 20-1 on all three.
I love that. I would really love to be able to do that.
Yeah.
I wish I could. That'd be fun, because I know one of them is going to hit.
If anyone wants to do it out there, just get a few different sports books, monitor the lines all week, wait for it to go to 3.5 and 2.5, and put the same amount on each side. And that's how you do it.
There you go.
Your risk will be 1/10 of that amount you put on each side.
I like Arizona this game. I think they're going to cover. Arizona is a much stronger team than a lot of people think they are, and honestly, every time somebody plays at Seattle, the public bets Seattle because they think they give them way too much credit. I understand the home factor, but I mean it's just like sometimes it's too much.
And their throwing game has been left a lot to desire this year. I mean, Jimmy Graham has been completely almost a useless signing. Like, why pay all that money if you're not going to utilize him?
Right.
It's been embarrassing.
So, I mean, I know you got Russell Wilson, who is a beast, but, I mean, Lynch, what the hell has Lynch done this year?
Well, Arizona's one of the best run defenses in the league, too, so Lynch will be somewhat neutralized by that.
And they have the arm behind it, so they can throw, too. I mean, they got what? They got Brown, and they have Fitzpatrick,
Yeah.
Fitzgerald and Floyd, Arizona usually airs it out. It's going to be hard to air it out in Seattle with the noise and the DBs. That's why I like the under, because the running game with the noise.
It's a great point.
And both sides kind of playing it safe against, they kind of know each other. I love the under. I really love the under. I'd put a lot on it if I could.
This game reminds me of when Carolina played at Seattle 2 weeks ago. And I loved Seattle to take out undefeated Carolina, except Carolina came out and just stomped them because Seattle might not be as good as I thought they were. I think it's the same scenario this week, and think Arizona's a pretty damn good team. They're coming off a bye, and they're just a better team than Seattle this year. And I think the one major thing is that they're going to be able to stop Lynch. And once you can stop Lynch, Russell Wilson isn't quite as big of a threat. So I think Arizona takes this game too as a 3-point underdog. So.
Nice.
So anyway, that's about it. That covers it. Have a great time. Win a shit ton of money. Join us next week for the same show when we talk about daily fantasy and
Gamble
sports
while you
betting.
can.
Fight for your right for fantasy.
That's right.
Get out there and fight for your right to gamble like a man. All right. See you guys later.